Hey guys, this is my Money in the Bank 2012 review. Let's get right into it. To the review. Opening match was the World Heavyweight Title Money in the Bank ladder match. Dolph Ziggler, Christian, Damian Sandow, Santino Marella, Cody Rhodes, Tensai. Oh my a Tyson Kidd, and Christian. I think I mentioned everybody. Well, anyway, this was a good match. I thought it had a little bit of a slow start as far as a ladder match went. Well, Sin Cara, doggone it. Anyway, but it ended up being good. It ended up being a good match. I'll tell you what, these guys took some sick bumps in this match, especially towards the end. Tensai powerbombed Sin Cara on a ladder. I know, 2 years in a row Sin Cara gets powerbombed on a ladder, but he bounces this time. Like, when Sin Cara got powerbombed, he bounced after he landed, which was a little bit crazy. And then Dolph Ziggler, and this scared me. Oh my God, this is how powerful Tensai is. Ziggler gets him from behind, doesn't affect Tensai. Tensai takes Ziggler, throws him literally over the announce table with Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, Booker T. Ziggler lands face first into the chair, did not even touch the table. He just went, like it was like an arrow, right into the chair. And it was really, really scary. I thought he'd, done it. I thought Ziggler was done. But then Cody Rhodes went after Tensai and knocked Tensai out. The end of the match comes when Christian is climbing the ladder. And he's almost there. He's about to get the briefcase. Dolph Ziggler makes a run. He comes back into the ring, climbs the ladder on the same side that Christian is on, pushes Christian off the ladder onto another one. Ziggler climbs up, grabs the briefcase. Dolph Ziggler wins that Money in the Bank ladder match. And like I said, it was a slow start, but it got good along the way. There were a couple of good spots. Santino Marella being afraid to climb the ladder because of heights was actually an okay spot. Tyson Kidd, he had this one move where he stood on the top rope, middle of the top rope, had the ladder, moved it, and he was standing in between the hedges, where the bolts are of the ladder that holds it together, and it's just absolutely amazing. You have to see it. But the right guy won. The right guy went over. Dolph Ziggler wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. So the next match is Alberto Del Rio against Sheamus for the World Heavyweight title. You know what? Again, this was another good match. It was another good match. And they did a little bit. They focused a little bit on the injured arm of Sheamus, which I liked. I thought that was a good idea. The end of the match comes when Sheamus catches Del Rio, hits him in a slam. Pardon me. And then hits him with a brogue kick. 1, 2, 3. After the match, Sheamus gets attacked by Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez. Well, out comes Dolph Ziggler with the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's going to cash it in when Del Rio stops him. He talks to him. Del Rio gets knocked out with the briefcase. Ziggler gives the briefcase to the ref only for Sheamus to come back with the brogue kick. Now, Michael Cole explained, and I thought this was very important for those who had never seen it. Since the referee never called for the bell, it doesn't count. So therefore, Dolph Ziggler gets to keep his Money in the Bank briefcase, which I thought was, I thought that was a good part that they told. I really did. Then we get an unannounced tag match. Darren Young and Titus O'Neil against Epico and Primo. And one thing I wanted to point out, and I hope that Matthew from Botchamania caught this, when they introduced Young and O'Neil. You know how some of the wrestlers, they have their Twitter accounts underneath? If you watch very carefully with Titus O'Neil's, his was at Percy Watson. I'm not kidding. You have to look at it again. Watch very carefully when, they come out and they show who they are. Right under Titus O'Neil's name, it says, at Percy Watson. Match was okay at best, although AEW was funny during this match, although it got a little bit racist at one point, because AEW's like, yeah, this ain't no Taco Bell, you go back, you're not gonna cross the border, and then there was another point where Titus O'Neil, is in the ring, and AEW's like, Rosie can't dance. Titus, show him how to dance. Yeah, do the Macarena on his ass. I kid you not, he actually said that. Do the Macarena on his ass. And then later on in the match, Epico and Primo are making a comeback. And I think it was Epico who hit a move. And Booker T's like, oh, he left a skid mark on him, dog. Yes, Booker T said he left a skid mark. No words. Anyway, Epico and Primo get the win after a quick roll-up. After the match, Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, who were out there for the match just to see, they have a little altercation, and it ends up where R-Truth throws water at AEW, and it just gets him upset. So the next match is CM Punk against Daniel Bryan for the WWE title. No DQ. AJ's the referee. Now, I'll get to this. I'll talk about why this should not have been in the middle of the show momentarily. But, this, the beginning told a good story, and then the rest of the way it just went really good. Punk and Daniel, they're having some good wrestling. They go to the outside. They come back into the ring. AJ, who's the referee, is somewhat taking her time. Daniel Bryan pushes Punk into the ropes, which knocks AJ to the floor. And then eventually they had to take AJ to the back. And then Punk and Daniel were fighting, in the ring, out of the ring, in the ring, out of the ring, with, one of the regular referees. Kendo stick was used. Chair shots were done. There was a table that was pulled out. A lot of very good spots. And then AJ comes back, tells the referee to leave, and then AJ gets a chair. Now, I gotta be honest. I think this is the first time I have ever seen where the referee brings in a chair. It was just very surprising. I liked the last 10 minutes because there was a lot of, close 3 counts and, close tap outs. Punk hits the GTS, gets a 2 count. Daniel Bryan gets a, sunset flip, gets a 2 count. Locks in the yes lock, but Punk breaks out. And then the ending was just great. Punk brings the table in, sets it up, puts Bryan on the table. He goes to the top rope. Daniel Bryan catches him. So they're fighting. And then Punk slips under Daniel, sends Daniel Bryan, down onto the top turnbuckle. He gets up to the top rope with Daniel Bryan, a super back suplex through the table, and Punk had just a little bit of energy left to cover Daniel Bryan. CM Punk got the win, stays the champion, and then after he goes to the turnbuckles and celebrates. So now we have another match that wasn't announced for the pay-per-view. Ryback against Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex. This was just, to waste time for, the big match, the final match. And actually, this was the first time that I had seen where Ryback, was actually getting beat down for a little bit. He wasn't dominating the entire match. There was actually some offense from Hawkins and Rex. But eventually Ryback came back, hit the shell shock on Tyler Rex, got the win. Ryback is Ryback. So then we get yet another unannounced match. A 6 Divas tag team match. Layla, Caitlyn, and Tamina Snuka against Beth Phoenix, Natalya, and Eve. Again, it's just another filler match. Really nothing to talk about. Layla ends up pinning Beth, and Layla's team gets the win. So now we go to the final match of the night, the WWE Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, one thing I forgot to mention early in the review, and it's probably because I've just, yap. The Miz came out and officially put himself in the Money in the Bank ladder match later on, because he is a former WWE champion. So, it is Kane, Big Show, Chris Jericho, The Miz, and John Cena. With 5 guys, they ended up doing a good job. Cena hit the attitude adjustment on the Big Show through the Spanish announce table, and what was so funny was one of the Spanish announcers, with his headset on, climbed over the barricade into the fans. It was absolutely funny. But Cena hits the AA on the Big Show, and then the others, and I counted, they dumped about 7 ladders on top of the Big Show. And then it just became the 4 of them for a little while, and it went back and forth. Then Big Show comes back. He basically knocks everybody out. Then he goes under the ring, and he gets his own ladder, that really huge ladder that he had a couple years ago. He tries to climb it up. Kane comes back. They have a little bit of a fight. And then Jericho comes back. Then Miz comes back. Then Cena comes back. And then the ending was so good. Cena and Jericho are fighting on the ladder. Jericho has Cena in the sleeper hold. And it was almost like weird psychology. I couldn't believe the announcers weren't pointing this out. Jericho has the sleeper on Cena. Cena's climbing down the ladder. Jericho's on top of Cena. I would think, if I'm Jericho, I would want to stay up to grab the briefcase. So Cena eventually collapses. Miz comes back. Jericho and Miz are fighting. And then Jericho holds on to one of the lines. And, he swings off the ladder, comes back on. And then Big Show comes back. Big Show climbs the ladder. He knocks out Jericho. Then he knocks out Miz, who was next to him. And then Cena comes back up. And in the end of the match, Cena takes the briefcase that's still hanging. He, first Big Show attempts to punch, but he blocks it with a briefcase. And then he keeps hitting Big Show about 2 or 3 times with the briefcase, and then it just pulls down. Like it just was just pulled out, by accident. And Cena wins, and the handle is gone. And then when Cena realizes it, he's got this look like, and that's basically the pay-per-view. Obviously, it was nowhere near as good as last year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Was it a good pay-per-view? Overall, I thought so. I thought the WWE title match really delivered. It had a fantastic ending to the match. The Raw Money in the Bank ladder match was a little bit better than I had expected it to be. I thought it just was not going to be good, but it ended up being, a pretty decent to good match. The SmackDown brand had a good ladder match. The World Heavyweight title match, it was okay. I just, and of course AW was just so funny with the comments during the match. Oh my god, it was terrible. But one thing I do want to point out, and I understand why the ladder match went last, but if you're having Money in the Bank, those ladder matches should go before the 2 title matches. Now, they got it over the World Heavyweight title. They should have done the same with the WWE title. That should have been the match that goes in the middle and have Punk and Daniel go at the end of the show. But, I mean, I'm not going to really complain about it that much. It's just my thought, my opinion. Like I said, it was a good show. Not nearly as good as last year's. Best match was CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. If you're going to get the replay, I'd recommend it for that match and the Money in the Bank ladder matches, especially for that sick Ziggler bump that Tensai just threw across. You have to see it to believe it. It was just absolutely sick. But it was a good show. Like I said, not nearly as good as last year's, but it still was a good show. And now it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Money in the Bank, as now WWE heads into the 1000th episode of Raw and SummerSlam.